Can you believe it, everyone? The Hukumuri Male Leopard is now still perched up on the same termite mound where we saw him this time yesterday, a full 24 hours in this area. And thankfully, another safari vehicle just came here to double check that he wasn't still around after we swung past here first thing this morning. He must have just been lying in the grass nearby, and he's a clever leopard, this, because he obviously knew that there was no point being up on the mound very early in the morning when we came past, because warthogs like to sleep in. And you saw his head just cock there for a second. The entrance to the termite mound is kind of in the direction he's looking at. It's going to be difficult to see from where I've parked the vehicle, but you actually can just make out that small kind of chunk of earth there. And that's the indicator that some kind of a skirmish happened here yesterday. And below that is the entrance down into the burrow. Now, I wonder how much longer is this leopard going to invest in this spot. It's absolutely incredible stuff. And very happy to hear that lots of you guys are expressing your excitement to the fact that he is still here. Old Hukumuri with his beady eyes, even though it's being covered quite well by a branch at the moment. I'm trying to keep as much distance between us and him and the termite mound as possible, just to ensure we have little or no impact on the events that may unfold here at any point in time this morning. I know for a fact that he moved a short distance away from here. Where I found his tracks on Aubrey's Road was probably not far, I mean only 100 meters or so away from here. But you wonder how far away he walked last night, or if he tried to go and catch some other prey in the general vicinity and then come back here first thing in the morning. That's a possible kind of theory that could be employed here, because he would have known full well the warthog's going to stay put after dark. So he may have been trying his luck with a few other species, but came back here first thing this morning. Either way, really exciting stuff, and I'm looking forward to spending the rest of the morning here. Conrad, one of our technical geniuses, is suggesting that maybe this is a statue of Hukumuri perched up on this mound because it's been here for so long. And I wonder how much longer he is going to be here. I also wonder how much time he spent here between when he caught the last warthog from this very same burrow and now. That would also be a very interesting statistic. And you get an idea now of how difficult it can be to find these animals. I mean, if we weren't lucky enough to follow him into this area yesterday, it would have been very, very difficult to work out that he's here. And if he spends another 24 hours, you can imagine just 2 days a leopard hanging around in exactly the same spot. It's not what anyone would kind of predict. It's definitely not normal behavior. But I guess he's kind of, every time he cocks his head like that, it means the warthog's shifting around in that burrow below and it's getting his attention. Vegas Beauty, you ask a question that I do not know the answer to. You would like to know how long will the warthog stay put before starvation will force it out of this burrow, and I really don't know. I mean, I'm guessing it could quite easily survive for 2 full days, possibly even more than that without food and water. But I've got no first-hand experience of a warthog being trapped in a burrow for an extended period of time. So this is a good case study that we're all involved in now. At least Hukumuri's got nice cool weather today. And at least he won't have to seek shelter in the shade. He can stay perched in the best spot. yesterday, you bring up a good point, and one I've been kind of touching on for the last 2 drives that we've spent with him. But imagine this poor warthog, you know, or any animal really, who's got a predator waiting outside its home, and with the full knowledge that something's trying to eat you. Ooh. What's going on here? Is he just moving around to stretch his body out? Or is something actually happening there? Again, every time he increases his attention and focus down at that burrow, it tells me that the warthog's shifting about in there. We're not too sure how many warthog are in there. There's definitely one. We got a glimpse of one in there yesterday. And I can actually bring out my camera to show you guys a picture. It's not the best picture, not easy to take a picture of a pig in a hole. But I'll bring it up nonetheless, just so we can have a quick look. And awesome views with that moody cloud in the background. So, I've pulled up a photo here, and you'll be able to see that there's a warthog in there. You can see the tusks over there, and interestingly you can actually see the very sharp tusk which comes off the bottom jaw. I think that's that little bit of white. Oh no, I'm talking rubbish. That's just where the top tusk has been kind of rubbed up against something. Who knows, maybe it was rubbing up against Hukumuri's nose yesterday, because there was definitely a scuffle between this leopard and one of the warthogs in that burrow. No two ways about that. Oh, let me actually have a look at the, sorry Darby, one other thing. If we look at the, oh no, it doesn't make sense. I'm not thinking clearly. Forgive me. You can go back to whatever you're doing. I was going to show you the chunk of earth that wasn't there, but I took that photo after the skirmish, not before. Interesting, we've got a few more of you that are putting through your votes as to whose team you're on. Jay, you're on Team Warthog. And I said yesterday that I usually back the predator because they're the underdog, or the undercat, I guess, in this case. So I'm definitely on Hukumuri's team, even though I do empathize with the poor warthog that is stuck in its burrow. I also empathize with the poor leopard that has to also sit here for days on end waiting to only possibly try and get a meal. There's no guarantees that he will get this warthog. More of a chance that it will actually shoot out while he is not ready. So I've also, I think on only one occasion have I seen a leopard wrestle a warthog out of a burrow. So also, for my own personal list of things seen out in the wilderness, it would be something that I'd like to add on. Ooh, this is looking good. And the fact that he's shifting like that means that possibly the warthog's shifting and he's wanting to get into a better spot. It's quite an awkwardly shaped mound. It's not allowing him to be as close as he would like to be to the burrow. And even though he is still very close, those warthogs are incredibly quick and could shoot out before he even has a chance to pounce. Ooh, here we go. What's happening here? Oh. That wasn't a good move, buddy. Because now this warthog knows full well that you are there. What are you going to do now? Are you going to go and poke your head deep into that hole? I'd be very surprised if you did, because those warthog have got big tusks, and their bottom tusks, like I was saying a bit earlier, are very sharp, the ones that are clued against the bigger top tusks. So it would be a bit of a suicide mission if he went in there head first. Is this you giving up? What are your plans, mister? Is enough enough? Or are you just going to lie up nearby where you're a little bit more comfortable? Well, you can see his belly is quite empty, so maybe the warthog's patience is going to beat the leopard's patience with regards to who's the most hungry. To be fair, I mean, leopard are used to not feeding for a couple of days at a time, but warthog are not. Warthog are animals that ordinarily would feed every day. Luckily for the warthog, at least it's the kind of bountiful summer where it would have been well fed from the day before it got trapped in here, the day before yesterday. It seems like he is continuing to move off. Maureen, you suggesting that maybe Hukumuri's thinking it's time for some easier prey. Yeah, that could well be the case. I couldn't see what he's ended up doing, but the grass is so long. I'm guessing he's continued moving away from this mound, luckily for the warthog, but let's just reposition ever so slightly and see what in fact he is up to. Yeah, he's still moving. So maybe 24 hours was his kind of limit to hanging around here. And who knows where he's going to take us now. Well, fascinating stuff, and I'm so glad. Yes, he's got himself up another termite mound and just enjoying, I guess, the view from up there. He did have a sniff around at the base of it, and there's another burrow here. I'm guessing if it's not for possibly an aardvark, but it doesn't look like it's inhabited at the moment. It could be, though. Can't be certain. And he did kind of have a sniff around at the base of it before he made his way up onto the mound. What's interesting is that he's still keeping an eye back in the direction of where he's come from. And I'm wondering if he's not trying to employ a strategy here of why not wait further away from where the warthog could come running out, with the chance that it could run in this direction and he could then chase after it once it initially runs out. It may run out and turn around and kind of look back onto the mound expecting the leopard to be there, and he could then ambush it from behind. How awesome is this view? Jessica, you've just mentioned how impressive his focus is, and yes, it certainly is. He's got a few ticks, you can see, latched onto the under parts of his throat. There's two little kind of blobs over there, busy drinking his blood. Wonderful. Wild Bill, you'd like to know if this is a kind of any blood on his muzzle, if it's just the kind of natural coloration. And to me it just looks like the natural coloration. It's no blood that I can see. Possibly just the angle, although having said that, there is a tiny little nick above his left eye where he does have some blood. Oh, you're covered in ticks, buddy. You need to do some grooming. You've been so busy waiting for your bacon, you've had lots of time to clean yourself, but you haven't. I wonder why. I mean, his dew claw and all of his claws would hook those ticks quite effectively if he wanted to scratch them off. But clearly he doesn't seem too perturbed by it. Difficult to see that he's got longer toes when just looking at his foot like that, but he definitely has got some funky toes, this guy. Clearly evident on his tracks. What an incredible view of his eyeball there. How cool is this? And you can see that little gash there. We noticed that yesterday morning, and Rion, you've also spotted that now. I wonder what it's from. I mean, it could have been hunting, you know, it could have got a branch in the eye, but I'm guessing that it was from a female leopard whilst mating. We've got reason to believe that he was mating with a female leopard a few days back. We had tracks of the two of them cruising along together. Just the more we look, the more ticks you see, filled with blood, ballooning. Yes, buddy, do more of that, do more cleaning. We don't want you covered in ticks. Just look at the size of the one coming out of his right-hand whisker patch. Oh, difficult now with the way he's put his head. I'll be ready for a big yawn. I think he could let off a big yawn for us before he keeps moving. I'm guessing that's what he's planning on doing. You'll be able to get some wonderful screenshots if in fact he does. Come on, boy, don't let me down. Now we might be able to see that tick a little bit better. Oof, look at all of those ticks. Now, Nicole, you'd like to know how far away is he from the other mound? You can see there's a new one that hasn't filled up with blood, kind of higher up compared to the ones that have filled up with blood. Quite interesting. Nicole, the other mound is only about 50 meters away from us here, not far at all. And judging by his behavior, I really do think that he's kind of mixed up his strategy a little bit here, and that he's wanting to, excuse me, maybe allow this warthog to come out and then have a stab at it once it's come flying out of the burrow. It's going to be very difficult, and it's a huge gamble, but it could in fact come running straight in his direction. Oh, the sun's managing to break out from the clouds, which is wonderful. Some beautiful morning light now, slightly diffused by the clouds, which is useful because usually at this time of the morning the sun's already getting a little bit hot regarding the picture that it gives us. Vulpine Wolf Girl, you suggest that it seems like this bachelor needs some grooming lessons, and I agree. Maybe once he settles in here to Djuma, which is the likely outcome for the future, maybe then he'll start taking a little bit more time to care about his appearance. Wonderful. Well, couldn't have asked for a better way to be spending the morning with you guys. Wonderful stuff, and really interesting, this sighting. Candelaroo, I think I got your name right, but it's a bit of a mouthful, so apologies if I didn't. You'd like to know, or you're kind of suggesting that he should be out marking his territory after rain, because all of that previous scent would have been washed away. And, I mean, I did smell some scent mark a little bit earlier, so he has marked in this area at some stage last night. But I guess, yeah, I mean, it all depends on multiple variables, and there's no set rules in nature. So even though, yes, a lot of the animals who are territorial will mark after rains, in this guy's case, he's busy with other business. You know, he's hungry, he's invested all this time here, so it's not critical. It's not like a whole bunch of leopards are waiting to come and steal his turf from him. So as long as they do it kind of relatively frequently, that's usually enough. But I guess, yeah, time will tell. He may even continue moving out of this area this morning and continue to scent mark. It's going to be a very, very interesting saga to play out. Oh, there's a nice big yawn. What are you planning now, mister? Are you going to get up and move? Time will tell. We'll be sure to call you back as soon as he does. But for now, we're going to send you back across to Steve.